What a ridiculous day today. We've got tons of news to talk about. We've also got a pretty big day on the economic calendar. We're also going to look at the SPY. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look a little bit at miners. Things are getting a bit out of hand out there. Let's get into it. So first of all, we've got Jay Powell speaking this afternoon. We've got two other Feds speaking, or is this? Oh, we got two other Feds. So we got four Feds today speaking. Four Feds speaking today. Home builders confidence, that's going to be important. Business inventories will be interesting considering all the big tariff ramp ups. We'll talk about that in a second. Retail sales are up out of fears of tariffs. And so that's interesting. But the big one today is Jerome Powell. The other big news today is that last night, in response to China's response to our tariff announcements and blocking of the H20 chips to China, which happened yesterday, which is why NVIDIA fell by 6% in post-market and is likely, I haven't looked yet, but likely still 6% down as of now. It represented a loss of about a little over $5 billion for NVIDIA this quarter. No more exports of H20 chips to China. We are trying to get a chokehold on their access to AI and AI assets. All right. So they hit us back with some tariffs. And in response to that, also last night, Trump ramped up the tariffs on China to 245%. Okay. That's a big deal. That's a lot. Okay, that is a lot, and that is driving these U.S. retail sales. Even people that weren't thinking of buying expensive items are buying those expensive items right now. On the off chance that this is going to go through, and they're going to be spending 245% more on that item in just a few weeks. So that is what is causing that. We're seeing. Let me bring this in. This is also interesting. Let's see, U.S. tourism down. So we've been seeing big decreases in tourism for the United States as a result, right? Yeah, we saw like a 13%, I believe it was. What was the number? Let's see. Yeah, we're getting it. It's coming down. It's coming down big. I know, especially like Canada isn't coming anymore. The EU isn't coming anymore. In a big way, big drop. Here we go. In March 2025, overseas visits dropped by 11.6% compared to the previous year. So we're getting a significant amount less tourism. So that if you're in that industry, you're being impacted quite largely right now as a result of what is happening. Now, this is what I really want to get to right now. This one right here from Unusual Whales. This came out 20 minutes ago. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said he hopes Trump's tariffs will eliminate China's army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones so they can be built in America by robots. Okay, the goal here is not to bring jobs to the United States. It is to bring industrial production to the United States, and the plan is to use robots and AI to build those things with very, very, very limited human capital involved. Okay, so if you think that a bunch of jobs are coming, a big wave of industrial jobs is coming to the United States, that is not likely the case. Okay, it is not likely the case. There may even be a slight increase in jobs in terms of they'll need 5 or 10 people to run their dark factories, but they're not going to need armies of people to run these these factories that they want to build. They want to build future factories, not factories like in the past that took huge amounts of human capital to operate. They want very limited human capital in these new factories in the United States. They just want to onshore it so that the factors of production are all inside of the United States to secure that supply line. Okay, that's all they're doing. All right. Anyways, that's something to keep in mind. Anyways, let's take a look at what's going on here. So we've been getting inside bars for days here. So if you look, this is the SPY, by the way. So the SPY, since April 9th, we've been just getting inside bars, inside bars, inside bars. Whenever we break out of this big bar right here, and I'm going to draw a nice big box around this thing. When we get outside of this big old bar right here, this big long-bodied candle with no wick, when we get outside of this thing, a big move is going to happen. Okay, a big move is going to happen when we get outside of this thing. Now, we might just like wick out of it on the bottom and then come flying up higher, or I don't think we'll wick out of it on the top. I think if we go out of the top, it's going to be an equally large candle. But we could wick out on the bottom and maybe tap like 479, 480 and then go flying out of it like that. But when we get out of this box, like closing candles outside of this box, it's going to be a big move, no matter which way it goes. Like if we start closing candles underneath this box to the downside, yeah, that's going to be bad too. And that would be absolutely a recession if that were to happen. Anyways, yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. We're just getting tons and tons and tons of inside candles. We get above 550, right? 550. Yeah, we get above 550. We're going to be having a good time up to about 570, 580, perhaps. We close underneath 490. We're going to be revisiting 480, maybe lower. If we start closing candles underneath it, opening candles underneath it, yeah, that's going to be real bad. Okay. Let's see. The BX trender is looking okay. RSI is not great. It's very middling. I think a lot of this is waiting for the tariff wars to be settled, or at least get some clarity on what's going to happen in the next month or so, versus the next day. That's kind of what we're waiting for. Now, if we come over here, we look at the Bitcoin miners. They had a real disgustingly bad day yesterday. Even though Bitcoin's holding up and doing just fine, we had a really disgusting day. Now, the only thing I like about this is the consolidation right here. This is a lot of consolidation. That is a lot of consolidation. That means someone is accumulating there. And CleanSpark actually announced something really interesting yesterday. So they are not going to be using their ATM anymore. Okay, CleanSpark is done using the ATM, at least until they said until the share price is over $20, they will not be using the ATM any longer. That is huge. Instead, they're going to start to leverage debt. Okay, they're selling Bitcoin a little bit. They're selling a bit of their Bitcoin production, so not of their HODL, but of their new production. And they will be leveraging debt. Now, the only thing I don't like about that is that they're starting to sell their Bitcoin, which means that there might be some suspicion that Bitcoin could have topped. Now, I don't think that that's the case, but if we start seeing them sell their treasury, like if they start selling their HODL, it's time to run for the hills. So watch for that. Watch for Bitcoin mining companies to start selling their HODL, especially the big ones, especially CleanSpark, Riot, Mara. If any of those ones start selling their HODL, like if they sell their production, whatever, like their monthly production, but if they start selling and reducing their HODL, it's time to run for the hills. Okay, but I do like this consolidation right here. At this time, I do like that they're not going to use the ATM. I like that they're, to a certain extent, that they'll be using different levers, like selling some of their production of Bitcoin every month while it's still in the 80s, just in case it goes down further. If it goes up more, oh, well, they've still got a pretty big HODL. Leveraging a little bit of debt as rates are expected to come down, so they could refinance that debt for cheaper in the future. They've held off on that for a good long time, and I like that. So that is what is happening there. CleanSpark came out with that announcement yesterday. That was a pretty big announcement. Lots of news is getting lost in the chaos of the tariff war. Okay, but that was actually pretty good news for CleanSpark. So keep that in mind. Not bad. And you can see the warrants are doing okay this morning in pre-market at 3.37% up, while the shares are actually down. Let's take a look at Mara. Mara yesterday, it was only down 2.86%. Not too bad. Mara's trying to break out of here. Now, I don't hate this structure right here. If we zoom in, I don't hate this structure. Like we came up above the line and we came back and back tested this white line. If we can bounce from there, not bad if we can bounce from there. If we can bounce off this white line here, which is at about $12. If we can bounce off of $12 and carry on higher and go above the 50-day moving average, I'm feeling pretty good about Mara at that point. Okay, not yet, but at that point. Let's take a look at IREN real quick. IREN, again, just kind of consolidating. It came out of this falling wedge and it's going sideways, which I don't like that it's going sideways out of it. I really wish we would get a move up and away. And I think once we break this white line right here, so get above the 21-day moving average, basically at 636. Once we're closing candles above 636, I think that we have a chance of actually making a nice move up. Let's take a look at Riot real quick. Still in that descending channel. It doesn't look like it's trying to break it yet. Bitfarms is doing terribly. Still kind of just going down and sideways. Cypher broke that line there. I like that. I don't hate that, but it's going sideways. So again, on this one, on Cypher, I really need to see it get above 326 before that one's interesting. Core Z, I have started taking a small position in Core ZW. I've got like 200 shares or something in it now. I've been buying it really, really slow. I've been buying like maybe 10 shares every couple of days. Waiting for it to break out of this aggressive descending channel, which it hasn't broken out of yet. So I am early, but my position is small. So it's just kind of like going sideways, and I'm still just kind of slowly accumulating down here between $7.40 and $6. But I'm doing it on Core ZW. So I've been accumulating between about $3 and $2.30. I've been accumulating shares slowly but surely there, looking for a move at least up to about $7.50, maybe even $8 or $9 on Core ZW. That's what I'm looking for. We'll see if it happens. Wolf also down, going sideways. We're waiting for these breakouts. We're just waiting for these breakouts on basically everything. Hut, same situation. We broke the downward trend line, but we're still just going sideways. So Hut really needs to get above $14 before there's much interest in that thing. Making a big move up. Hive, same situation, exactly the same thing. This one hasn't broken the trend line yet though, so it's probably going to go sideways continually for a little while longer, and then eventually break out, hopefully come up to 217, maybe not struggle too much there, come up to 283, maybe hit 383. That'd be nice, get a little more than a double up. I'd really like to see it hit this yellow line up here at about $5 again. That'd be very interesting, and representative of like a 300 to 400% run up from current price. That'd be pretty good. Or is that only 200? Can I not do math? Can I not math? Is my math not mathing? It's 264%. Okay, so my math isn't that great on the fly. Can down at 75 cents. It did break. It's one of its descending channels, but I don't like it. I would move this one. Honestly, I would move this one to there. And it is still also breaking that. So I don't know. We'll see it go sideways a little bit. I don't really see what's going on with Can yet. Yeah, I don't really see any. It's very similar, but not quite. It's a little behind some of the others still, I'd say. BitDeer is same thing, down, going sideways, trying to come out of this falling wedge. We'll see. All right, MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, I think, is in this channel right here. You see this downward channel? Let me draw it, make it bigger. This downward channel right here, right there. This one and here. Okay, we're in that channel. When we break out of that to the upside, I see potential for a move up to about $400. That's, I think, is where we're going to struggle unless Bitcoin is trading over $200,000 or more. Okay, so MicroStrategy is doing a nice, huge bull flag. When it breaks out of this thing, we'll see if it can't get over $400, like decisively slice through $400. I would probably be running from MicroStrategy. Like if it struggles at $400, well, after breaking out of this flag, I'd probably run. Kind of like back here. See, look, it did this nice flag back here in 2024, right? And then when it broke out, it didn't struggle like anywhere really. It just went right, came down, made a flag, went up more, came down, made a little flag, went up, made a little flag, and then launch. One more flag, and then to $500. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Like come up, small flag, launch more, small flag, launch more. Any sideways nonsense, like anything that looks like reminiscent of this period of time right here, from January 2025 to February 2025, anything reminiscent of that, and I'd be done. I wouldn't even think about it. I just cut it. Let's take a look here. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Simply my thoughts, my opinions. Take them or leave them. Do your own research. Take your own risks. Be responsible for your own decisions. Anyways, let's take a look here. Now, I do. This is exactly the structure I just said I'd hate on MicroStrategy right here. Underneath the 50-day moving average, kind of going sideways, looking very sidewaysy. I don't care for that. But as long as it's holding above 80, like 82, I want to say like $82,000, as long as we're holding above like 82, I'm not too upset about this. Because Bitcoin does like to go flat and then make a big move, but I will note that it often, like right here, right here, it does often go flat and do a big move down followed by flat and a big move up. So it likes to get volatile. After going flat like this, it gets very volatile. You just don't know which way it's going to be. So it could be down, it could be up. We shall see. Like back here, right, we went up, we went flat, we came down, then we went flat again, and we went down further. So, who knows what's going to happen. Other times we go flat, we go up higher. So I don't like it when Bitcoin goes flat because it means that, well, one, it doesn't really give me a directional bias, and two, it comes out of these things with high volatility, and that high volatility sometimes gets a little scary. So we might still see some kind of a low on Bitcoin coming forward pretty soon here before we take off. Now remember that 108-day M2 lag is coming to an end very, very soon. We're talking first week of May. We could see some big, a one more dip and then a rip on Bitcoin just to scare you before that M2 kicks in. We could slide into the early part of May and then just start taking off. Both of those things could happen. Those are both totally viable scenarios that could happen right now. So that's what we're looking at with Bitcoin. None of the other cryptos are looking too interesting right now. I have started buying a little bit of Sol, like a small amount of Sol. And I bought that Sol because we broke this trend line right here. I'll draw it. I'll draw over it. This one right here. We broke this one right here. We broke that trend line and started consolidating sideways. So I decided it was time to start buying in anticipation for a move up back up to $200, maybe even $300 on that. I also started buying a little bit of Dogecoin. These are my high risk scenarios. I started buying a small amount, and you can see right there, yeah, it broke this trend line right here, broke this trend line right there. Okay, well, I didn't draw it super well, but it broke that little trend line right there after consolidating sideways for a little while, and I'm looking for a move up to, out of this, I'm looking for a move back up to, the high 20s, maybe even the mid 30s again for Dogecoin. And then from there, I'll probably either sell it, or if it's really taken off, I'll let it hold it. Maybe it'll go back up to 50 cents. We'll see. That's all I've been doing there right now. Everything else looks terrible. You can see NVIDIA is still down 6%, AMD down 7%, even though there was no restrictions on AMD chips specifically, only NVIDIA chips, but that's the sympathy play. It is down. Soxel down 13% today. That's brutal. Everything's doing bad. Oh, VRT down as well. Not doing so hot. Chips are going to suffer right now. All sympathy plays because of NVIDIA getting slapped by the federal government to no longer sell China AI chips. Eventually, I think that'll get shaken out, and we'll see. Magnificent 7 all down. US 10-year down, which is not so bad. Let's see, VIX up to 32 today. Let's take a look at that. We had that VIX spike, and we're just hanging out in the 30s. As long as we're above the 20s here on VIX, things are going to be volatile, and they'll just remain that way until it gets lower. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.